Welcome back to the Hardforking channel and our weekly crypto update show with my co-hosts, Maffmatix and Leanne. How are you both?
Hey-ho!
Good.
Was it a yawn?
No.
Bitcoin kept me up last night. I'm back in trading mode somewhat at the moment, Leanne, given where we are in this cycle. So we'll have a bit of a chat about where we will think we are in the cycle and how we're approaching things. This is certainly the business end of this particular cycle, in my opinion. But Leanne, you're going to explain inflation to everyone today.
Yeah.
You're the teacher, so I'll let you kick it off.
I was a teacher, always a teacher. Never
You
shake
teach
that
me
one
things
out.
every day, Leanne. Oh, boy.
So yes, the inflation figures were announced, and inflation report from the US came in at 6.2%, which, as we know, sent Bitcoin into a surge, and it hit, its all-time high. I think it hit at nearly 68. But inflation is an interesting topic because at the start of the COVID, with the crash, stock market crash and everything, the Fed started printing a lot of money, and 40% of the money supply in existence has been printed in the last, year and a half. And, for people, that's all good and well that people's pockets have been lined and there's been circumstances where businesses have needed injections and people need to survive and live. But there will always be an after effect, an aftershock with that. And we're starting to see that now. And, a lot of people listen to these words, inflation, they kind of know what it means. But here's a little 1-minute clip. It's actually an old clip, and the reason I'm using an old clip is because it kind of is a prelude to what is happening now. So let's play that.
Yes, money can indeed become worthless. Zimbabwe is the most popular recent example of hyperinflation. Believe it or not, they even printed a $100 trillion bill. Earlier in the 20th century, the same thing happened to Germany after World War I, and historic examples abound. How can something this dramatic happen? You need to understand that money is just paper or numbers on a screen. It only has value if people accept it as a medium of exchange. In other words, you only accept money for your goods or services because you know others will do the same. Now let's assume a revolution takes place in your country, and those who take over print lots of money, then hand that money to everyone. At the beginning, people might be tempted to celebrate, but eventually, too much money will end up chasing a limited number of goods, and confidence will disappear. A loaf of bread can go from costing 1 unit of currency to costing $1 trillion. Eventually, no matter how many zeros you add to a bill, nobody will want it. The end.
For me, the real inflation, and if you listen to the likes of Michael Saylor, this is what he's based his Bitcoin investment thesis on. They're saying real inflation is actually 22%. You need to be, as a company, you need to be making more than 22%. Hence, we've seen a lot of people move into scarce assets like property, Bitcoin and gold. Bitcoin's up 130% this year, gold 2%. So it's clearly winning that battle. But yeah, what are your thoughts on all of this? Inflation obviously happens because of this money printing. It's just, people notice it when they go shopping, things are more expensive. But in my opinion, it's effectively a hidden tax. You just, if you're a salary earner, inflation is your enemy, people.
I mean, it's not so hidden.
It's out there. How many jobs, Jesse, McDonald's, Uber, how many jobs do you have?
Yeah, I mean, you asked me a question about any of this, and I'm giving a censored response because of the obvious reasons.
Sensitive YouTube
and
reasons.
B, the response I do give will be the same. I think that most of it's out clear in the open. It's just that people have become so accepting of
hard time.
Well, Jesse, you're talking about censorship there, and here's a short clip from somebody who I've read every single book this guy's ever written. I've watched every video he's ever made, and I strongly encourage you to check this guy out. He's just done a podcast with Lex Friedman. Here's a short clip from that, and the reason I mentioned censorship, this guy is actually starting his own university. He's been at Harvard, Stanford, Yale, and now he has decided modern universities are full of censorship.
Yes.
There is no free thinking anymore. So what's he doing? He's starting his own damn university.
Yes.
I rate this guy. Check him out. Here's a short clip.
We've avoided major price instability for the better part of 20 years. In most of the world, there haven't really been that many very high inflation episodes and hardly any hyperinflationary episodes. Venezuela's one of the very few. Zimbabwe's another. But if you take a 100-year view or a 200-year view, or if you want to take a 500-year view, you realize that quite often the system doesn't work. If you go back to the 17th century, there were multiple competing systems of coinage. There had been a great inflation that had begun the previous century. The price revolution caused mainly by the arrival of New World silver. I think financial history is a bit messier than one might think. And the more one studies it, the more one realizes the need for the evolution. The reason bills of exchange came along was because the coinage systems had stopped working. The reason that banknotes started to become used more generally, first in the American colonies in the 17th century, then more widely in the 18th century, was just that they were more convenient than any other way of paying for things. We had to invent the bond market in the 18th century to cope with the problem of public debt, which up until that point had been a recurrent source of instability. And then we invented equity finance because bonds were not enough. So I would prefer to think of the financial history as a series of crises, really, that are resolved by innovations. And in the most recent episode, very exciting episode of financial history, something called Bitcoin initiated a new financial or monetary revolution in response, I think, to the growing crisis of the fiat money system.
I love listening to him speak. And as a teacher, ex-teacher, I don't know why I say ex-teacher. Why do I say that? I say it, Jesse and Sean. I hear you asking. Not.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that? Because I rejected the system from which I came. So I am a teacher by nature. It was a real calling for me, but I rejected the system in which I had to do that. So when I hear somebody like Niall creating his own university, that to me is amazing, and I think there should be more schools and universities based around that independent thought concept, critical world thinkers, not censoring ideas, not censoring scientists, not censoring...
Yeah, more than ever, that's right, you should actually not say ex-teacher.
Yes.
More than ever, you are now a teacher.
Yes.
Now that you've rejected the system, now you're a teacher.
I like
Congratulations.
that, Jesse. Yes, because I always find myself saying that, and I'm like, no, that's not actually true.
Yeah,
it's because
fuck that.
I want to identify with the system from which I came. The system itself, the education system, is broken, like the fiat currency system is broken. There are so many things right now that are broken, and we need people that are passionate about things to step up and start creating things in the vision and model that we want them to be. I know that teachers aren't happy with the way things are happening, but the school system stays as it is, and the demands get harder, and life changes, and pressures become different. But learning, if you take it back to its roots, it's about curiosity, which is how I ended up in crypto, about following one's curiosity. And all learning should be based around following one's curiosity. But curiosity is completely stifled in the education system.
I came across this article today in CoinDesk. It's an interesting topic. I mean, I've only ever been in tech, and, I've had 30 years of my working life just really a male-dominated industry, being in technology. NFT art creators been 77% male. I'm actually surprised. I would have thought it was going to be more in this space. Leanne, obviously, it's wonderful having you as part of Hardforking. What are your thoughts on sort of female involvement in crypto? Have you noticed any changes?
Before I answer that question, I want to ask you guys, at school, what were the subjects that you were most interested in?
Well, I had a television video class, which obviously I was obsessed with. Then there was some sort of like a culture study
Like anthropology, sort of, or something?
Something like
Yeah.
that. Kind of like an advanced social studies type of class.
Oh, social studies, yes, yes.
Everything that kind of strayed away from core classes, math,
Yes.
science, algebra, which are all, these are all lovely. I just I found kind of more off the beaten path classes about anything a little bit more interesting for me.
Sean?
I don't know. I didn't really have any great teachers that I rated, so I just didn't bother going most of the time.
Okay, so that brings me to the point of why women are underrepresented in tech and crypto and everything. And I do think, like you just said something, Sean, about role models, right? There's not a lot of role models that are prominent for girls and women when at school, and that's really difficult. There's a lot of men that we can name that have done amazing things in tech, but it's harder to name the women. They're not at the forefront. So girls, when they're at school, don't see a lot of that stuff. And they get, it's gender bias in schools starts at a very young age and in life conditioning. So they're naturally drawn to different subjects. And so then you get, Sean, crypto, NFTs, you have an underrepresentation literally because that's also what happens in schools. I think only 5% of tech startups are run by women. I think in the US the stats are like 5% of women run tech companies on the leadership boards, and only about I looked up a stat, only in the UK only 3% of girls show interest in technology. But if school was structured differently and technology was brought in and weaved into curiosities, then it becomes part of what they're interested in anyway. It's not standalone sort of subjects. And that's why I think in crypto, you just get that representation of what's happening at school. The interest level's not there. It seems, I know a lot of women that I speak to, they say, I don't have time to do that. And the words that I'm saying now are very controversial and people don't like hearing them, but it's what people say. They don't have time, they're not interested, and there's elements of tech that I hate. Like if I had a TV brought into this house, a monitor, and it had to be set up with Bluetooth and wireless and that, I don't want to do that stuff. I'll call a man, please come and do this.
You are so sexist.
And not that I can't, I can. I have no interest in it. I'm much more interested in the socials of crypto. As you know, I like to network with people. I've got a lot of good friends in the space. I'm interested in the artistic realms of crypto, and I'm a trader, so I have mathematics in me that I'm very good at as well. But to answer your question,
Heyo.
but it starts from right back at school as to why we don't have enough women in tech now.
I think we could all agree that, of course, no matter if you're male or female or non-binary or whatever, that if you are going to be into a certain field, it varies person to person, right? So you could have a woman who's literally a tech genius whiz, and you could have a man who just wants to be a stay-at-home father or whatever, and both are totally normal. That's true on one hand, but one thing I did notice about crypto is that when I go through my Instagram stories now, I see almost an equal part male and female going, ooh, my Binance coin is up, hey, like party. And then like dudes like, oh yeah, bro, my fucking whatever coin's going up. And I'm like, whoa, this is across the board even at this point. And I think the environment that we're in now with, job security being a little bit shady and like people being forced to stay at home more, I think that people's interest in crypto is less about their inclination towards technology and finance and more towards, oh, I can make money.
Yeah.
And I think that's why crypto is becoming more popular for everyone. It's less about their technology inclinations and more about, I need some fucking money. And this I hear.
Worryingly, Jesse, 4% of Americans have quit their jobs to be full-time crypto.
Yeah,
Right?
that's alarming.
Yeah,
and,
so-
and Jesse, I think, yes, to your point, I agree with that. But it's when you get into the intricacies, like women will say to me, I want to be a trader, but I don't want to learn that. I'm interested in money, but I don't have time to spend 4 years studying charts.
We have a way to call that.
Yes, we do.
Comment below the video, ladies. What do you like about crypto? What are you in it for? Let us know. But I would say close to half our community is female now, and that's gone from a big fat zero a few years ago.
Yes,
so.
and I'll say this is a social platform, and I said women are interested in social dynamics. So when you have Instagram and TikTok and everything, they're social platforms. So I have there's a lot of representation from females talking about crypto and stuff. I'm more talking about the NFT stuff, the tech company stuff, which was your question,
Right.
and that goes a bit deeper into why they're underrepresented. But as a general social thing, making money, yes, there's loads of females, in the space, which is great. But that I'll put down to a very social thing as well.
And we're looking forward to seeing your NFTs shortly, Leanne. And
I know, and then every episode I say, but the gas fee, Sean, ETH, really? What?
Yeah, ETH is kind of broken until that's fixed.
It's just not functional.
use a different platform.
I can, but I don't have time.
Could you imagine? It's like, it feels like someone's saying, look, could you imagine if you wanted to make a PayPal payment? In order to do a PayPal payment, you had to spend $150?
Yes, Jesse, I'm
That's what it
going to
feels like.
buy a Maffmatix NFT. It cost me $100, but it's going to cost me $150 to send you the money.
It's worth it, trust me.
And yes, Sean, you're right. I shall allocate time to finding a different platform. There's a Tezos platform I'm interested in trying as well.
Maybe you can get it on Stacks Art.
I could. Speaking of which, how's your friend's bird going?
My friend's bird, the Bitcoin bird, looks like it's one of the highest valued NFTs on the Stacks Art platform. It's kind of the OG on there. I think he's still like 2 or 3x from where it started. It's very interesting to watch Stacks Art because those NFTs, the floors kind of are wavy, volatile a bit, and interesting.
Speaking of OGs, that's a not very popular OG. Peter Schiff, I stand by that tweet. Everyone who bought at $3,800 who does not sell will lose money. That's Bitcoin, everybody. Poor Peter. He's still standing by that comment.
Did he have a stroke or something?
Poor Peter.
I don't know, did he? Probably because of the Bitcoin price.
I mean, for him to say things like that, I'm wondering if he had a stroke or...
Okay, got you. Yes, it's just so absurd. I've never seen someone put a stake in the ground so hard with what they think about Bitcoin and not be willing to change their mind.
Oh, you've seen people put a stake in the ground over being wrong just to be right. Plenty, Leanne, in the past 2 years. I think this is a reoccurring theme against all humanity, where people need to learn how to take better responsibility, accept when they're wrong, and move forward in a productive way instead of trying to fight for the sake of fighting and then dying on the hill, no matter if the hill is rotten or not. It's getting absurd and tiring.
And Jesse, for me, the height of intelligence in a human is the flexibility to change your mind.
Yeah.
Speaking of flexibility, I just wanted to show you this short clip from a project we have looked at before, which is Flexcoin. I'm actually going to be doing quite a bit of stablecoin coverage in the coming weeks. We got their CEO back on the channel with us next week as well. So check what they have just launched. They just hit their highest daily turnover, 2.2 billion yesterday as well. So here's a short clip from Flexcoin.
Welcome to the AMM Plus Arena, the league of yield where traders battle to maximize their AMM profits and compete for the arena's rewards and the honor of being crowned champion. The arena comprises of 3 sections. Global competition. Each week, the arena prize pool will fall into one of 3 tiers, based on the total trading volume of all participants from the previous week. The larger the trading volume, the larger the prize. But be warned, there is no prize for last place. Finish in the top 10 to stake claim to your reward. Solo mission. Earn up to $2,000 each week by reaching the AMM trading volume thresholds. Each AMM trading pair will have 3 levels with the prizes increasing with each tier. This means you can earn 3 rewards for each trading pair. NFTs. This is where your legacy can be cemented forever. Become the champion to win a limited edition NFT of the legend that battled and bled for you in the arena. And there's more. The first 100 eligible warriors will win an exclusive AMM Plus Arena NFT on the first day of battle.
Speaking of stablecoins, every couple of months I do a little search about, what is the consensus on the top stablecoins in terms of, I know that there's plenty out there. I know that Tether is one of the most widely known and reliable, but there's some concern about the fact that there's a man, there's a man or multiple men that have kind of control of the contracts or something like that. So it's questionable, right? And also they have potential legal issues. And then there's the idea of more centralized or decentralized kind of stablecoins. But what I saw in a recent search was that this website, whether or not they're sponsored or not, they thought that Paxos was on the top of the list. And I was like, that's weird because I don't really ever hear about Pax and Paxos. And yet, is that because it's more centralized? I don't know, but
Singaporean company. I think it's a gold-backed stablecoin, that one.
because it seemed to be rated like the top over all the other ones.
I've recently seen it too, and I've wondered about that because it's.
Personally, I'm trusting if I'm going into stablecoins. I like what Flexcoin are doing. USDC we know has actual. It's regulated. They've got proven reserves. DAI I also like. Alchemist is something I would encourage people to have a look at. Olympus DAO is another very.
I staked some Olympus yesterday. I forgot about that.
We just covered it actually, Leanne,
excellent.
on yesterday's show.
Excellent.
Yeah, so go and check that out, people.
I will.
We're going to be looking closely at these. I'm really looking at sort of, I wouldn't call it an exit strategy, but once I feel I've done all right on some of these crazy gains on some degen plays, I'm really looking at the likes of Flex, Olympus, Alchemix as well.
It's called being prudent, Sean. And when you have gains you would like to lock in that are different than your HODL stash, then you need to start thinking about this stuff.
Yeah. So lots of that sort of content coming up in the next few weeks, people. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Now, just quickly, Jesse, you mentioned Tether there. Obviously, that's the one that has always sort of worried a lot of people, including myself. Obviously, we had this Evergrande FUD, which may have been responsible for a rather large correction we saw. We'll keep an eye on that one. But there's rumours around that Tether are quite exposed to Evergrande. They have said they're not. But yeah, we're keeping a close eye on that Evergrande story over the next few days. But I don't know. Let's see.
Let's just think rainbows and unicorns and Bitcoin prices for now. Liquidation event, it's fine. I also just wanted to bring up that if you're a Bitcoin holder, a lot of people think, I can't afford a whole one, and we've talked about this endlessly. Even just hedging a little bit into your long-term portfolio, it's for events like we're having now with inflation. Just to have a portion that's outside of the system, the traditional system, is something we'll always keep pushing. And I've had a few comments in the last 2 weeks. Oh, you're so lucky. You have Bitcoin. There's no luck involved whatsoever. It's been a hard, long road.
Could you imagine? That's so funny.
It's
Like, you imagine painting a picture for a month, just working on it, and then when it's done, they're like, "You're so lucky. You have
so lucky you can.
you have a piece of art."
Yeah. It hasn't been easy, and all of us three have dedicated literally our waking hours to being in the space.
Leanne, I didn't make a penny out of Hardforking for years and years. I spent a ton of money educating people on just Bitcoin because I believed in it that strongly and still do.
Yeah.
And I never in a million years did I think in 5 years later we would find ourselves in this financial situation and just this situation we're in globally in general. It's the real deal now. We need to take this seriously. I don't think anyone can rock back on their heels and think everything's just going to be fine and dandy.
No, we have to take a large portion of our life into our own hands now, and certainly understand that our best interests are our own, and there's nobody who's in controlling power who's really concerned about you.
Word.
No.
Word.
Yeah. And the good news is, people, because that might have sounded all very doomy and gloomy, but the great news is if you're watching this content, you know, it means you are interested in furthering your own lot, and there's just more opportunities to do that than there ever has been. So, you know, we hope you find some value in the content we make. And
we'll finish on a light note.
There's great opportunities out there.
Because I found one of my stupid clips on Twitter. You know, those videos I find that give me a lot of amusement. And because Bitcoin hit a new all-time high, I've got my Bitcoin. Every time we get a new price surge, I'll put my earrings on. But we've also, at the end, we'll play out with this tribute to the hodlers and the people that have kept the faith.
We'll see you all next time.
Enjoy the nonsense. Keep hodling.
See you later,
Ciao,
everyone.
ciao.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake!
Check this out.